Okay, picture this. You hit a button and boom, $10 rolls into your account. Now imagine that happening every single time 1,000 people see your content. For a lot of folks, making $10 per 1,000 views just sounds completely made up, like a glitch in the matrix or something. But for a select group of savvy digital creators, that high-end CPM is literally just an average Tuesday.
So it really makes you wonder, what if the physical borders of the country you're sitting in right now had absolutely zero impact on your earning potential? What if you could use digital arbitrage to basically bridge the wealth gap and get paid in high-value US dollars, all while staying exactly where you are? The reality is, most people are just mindlessly scrolling through memes, totally unaware that the phone in their hands is a direct passport to the global economy. Welcome to The Explainer. I'm super excited you're here because today we are diving deep into the ultimate masterclass on Meta's 2026 monetization system. We're strictly looking at the data, the core strategies, and the actual technical realities of how creators are quietly pulling in thousands of dollars a month by targeting high-paying countries from literally anywhere on the map. To give you an idea of where we're headed, here's our roadmap for this explainer. First up, the 2026 monetization system. Then, we'll look at the no-voice content strategy, which is awesome because you don't even need to speak English. Third, we're hacking the global algorithm. And finally, number 4, securing your dollar payout. All right, let's jump right into part 1, the 2026 monetization system. To really get this, we have to start with the foundation. Back in 2026, Facebook finally decided to stop overcomplicating everything. They grabbed in-stream ads, Reels, and the performance bonus, and basically just smashed them all together into one streamlined content monetization program. Now, you might be asking, why does targeting even matter? Well, look at the stark contrast here. This is geographic arbitrage in its absolute purest form. If your views are coming from places like Sri Lanka or India, the data shows you're probably looking at around 50 cents for every 1,000 views. But if those exact same views on the exact same video come from the US or Norway, you're suddenly earning between $5 and $10. That's a massive 10 times difference based entirely on where your viewer happens to be sitting. Of course, to even get into this system, you've got to clear a couple of entry hurdles. Luckily, they're surprisingly straightforward. You just need 5,000 followers and 60,000 minutes of watch time within a 60-day window. Once you hit that threshold, boom, you unlock the ability to earn. But as we're going to see, simply unlocking the system and actually maximizing it are two entirely different beasts. That brings us to Section 2, the no-voice content strategy. This addresses a massive psychological hurdle for so many creators. I mean, how do you capture a high-paying English-speaking audience if English isn't your first language, or if you just absolutely hate being on camera? Well, the answer is the no-voice content strategy. Now, what's really interesting about this is it totally shatters the myth that you have to be some fast-talking, charismatic host to go viral. Get this. A staggering 80% of Facebook users watch videos with the sound completely off. Just let that sink in for a second. You could be delivering the most profound speech of your life, and the vast majority of your audience is watching it in total silence. So those traditional language barriers, they're practically irrelevant. But because they're watching in silence, your text basically becomes your voice. That means English metadata is absolutely non-negotiable. Your titles, your descriptions, all of that has to be in English to signal to the algorithm who the video is for. Plus, you absolutely need big, bold English burn-in captions right there on the screen. Think about it. If an American user is scrolling silently and can't immediately figure out what's going on, they're just going to keep right on scrolling. So, what exactly should you post? You want to focus heavily on visual storytelling. We're talking universal niches here. Think ASMR, DIY projects, woodworking, cooking, or those incredibly addictive, oddly satisfying video loops. These categories rely entirely on the visual process. You don't have to explain how you're making a woodworking joint. The sawdust and the visual progression just speak for themselves. It bypasses language altogether and appeals directly to a premium global audience. Moving on to part 3, hacking the global algorithm. Because, let's be real, making great silent content isn't quite enough. You still have to get it in front of the right people. And that brings us to the most technical and honestly the most fascinating part of our explainer, how you actually trick the algorithm into putting your videos onto American screens. See, the second you hit upload, Facebook checks your IP address. If you're uploading from Colombo, the algorithm tests your video by showing it to an audience in Sri Lanka. But if you want US views, you have to bypass that completely. The secret tech that top creators use is an RDP, which stands for Remote Desktop Protocol, or a VPS, a virtual private server. Essentially, it's just a virtual computer that's physically located in your target country, like the US or the UK, but you control it right from your laptop at home.
And this brilliantly illustrates why this insider tech is such a game changer. If you just do a local upload, you get tested locally, which basically locks you into that 50-cent low-tier CPM. But when you use an RDP, you're uploading from a virtual desktop in, say, New York or London, so to Facebook's algorithm, it literally looks like you're just kicking back in an American coffee shop. It tests your video on an American audience, and boom, you've unlocked that high CPM.
I do need to give you a massive warning here, straight from the source material. Please do not try to cut corners with cheap or free VPNs. Facebook's AI is incredibly smart. It can instantly detect large amounts of traffic coming from those generic free VPN server farms, and it will absolutely shadow ban your page's reach. If you're serious about this, you absolutely have to use a dedicated residential IP, so your virtual computer looks like a normal, everyday household connection.
Okay, so once your content is live from a US IP, you've got to distribute it. Don't waste your time sharing it to local groups. That's just going to tank your CPM. You need to hunt down global niche groups. Think something like Classic Cars USA. But, and this is a big but, you have to follow the 5-to-1 rule. Basically, for every one video you share, you've got to leave 5 genuinely helpful comments in that group. It's all about building trust. If you just roll in and spam links, you'll get banned in a heartbeat. Beyond those Facebook groups, there's actually a super powerful cross-pollination hack that's built right into Meta's own ecosystem. All you do is link your Instagram professional account and toggle on Recommend to Facebook whenever you post a reel. Meta does the heavy lifting for you and automatically pushes your content across both platforms. You're effectively doubling your global exposure with literally zero extra uploading effort. All right, let's move to Section 4, securing your dollar payout. So we've successfully bypassed the algorithm. We've engaged that lucrative US audience, and the views are really starting to roll in. Now we have to tackle the real-world financial bureaucracy to get those US dollars out of the digital cloud and safely into your local bank account. Once you meet all those criteria we talked about, a little setup button is going to magically appear. Getting your payout is basically a 3-step dance. Step 1, you need to hit the $100 payout threshold. Facebook processes these payments on the 21st of every month like clockwork. Step 2, you don't actually need some fancy international bank account. Your local bank is totally fine. You just have to make sure you input your bank's international SWIFT code perfectly. And step 3, which is super critical, you have to complete the W-8 ban tax form. So the crucial point here is understanding why this form is such a big deal. The W-8 ban is a legal declaration to the U.S. government proving that you are a foreign creator operating outside of the United States. If you skip this step, or if you fill it out incorrectly, the U.S. government can and absolutely will withhold 30% of your earnings. Getting this paperwork right is literally a direct, immediate protection of your hard-earned money. But listen, at the end of the day, all these algorithm hacks, tax forms, and IP tricks are completely useless if your actual content isn't good. The source material lays down one absolute golden rule for 2026: consistency plus high quality. When you're targeting premium markets, sheer volume just doesn't replace quality anymore. Don't throw up 10 terrible videos hoping one of them magically goes viral. Instead, post 3 amazing, crisp 4K videos every week. If you respect the audience's time, the algorithm is definitely going to reward you. So, we've gone through the data, we've totally broken down the exact blueprint, everything from highly visual niches and English metadata, right down to RDP servers and tax forms. The barrier to entry has quite literally never been lower, but at the same time, the ceiling has never been higher. All the infrastructure is sitting right there, just waiting for you to use it. The world is your audience now, so the only question left to ask yourself is, are you ready to stop thinking local and start earning global? Keep learning, keep building, and I'll catch you in the next explainer.